Donnie Boivin is changing the game of business development. At the age of 22, right out of the Marine Corps, he struggled with what to do next. He landed his first straight commission sales job and has spent over 2 decades learning what it takes to be successful in sales, business, and life. At the age of 40, Donnie discovered he'd been living other people's dreams and not chasing his own. Launching his own business, he found himself and grew an international business, Success Champions. He's the founder and CEO of the Success Champions family of companies, Success Champion Consulting, Growth Mode Podcast, Success Champion Magazine, the Badass Business Summit, and Success Champion Networking. Donnie's story about becoming a success champion in his own life has inspired thousands to get out of their own way and go for it. Get ready to have your fire lit and start chasing your own dreams.
Man, Michael, it's my honor to be here, brother. I love doing this. And dude, I almost sound like I'm somebody important when you read all that off.
I did my best radio announcer voice.
It was good. It was
reading
good.
Your intro because it deserves it. I mean, it is an awesome intro that you have, and I really enjoyed learning about you and your past.
Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that. We've actually, since that intro has been written, we launched a sixth business. So we just launched another business called eventswithanedge.com too. So
yeah,
crazy.
Well, it's nice to be able to create your own platform apart from the social networks where you can build your own community.
For sure.
Yeah, so I'd love to ask you some questions around sales and your understanding of what it takes to succeed in sales for my network, which are typically people who have 0 to 5 years of sales experience. And I know that they can accelerate their growth and success by listening to some of your wisdom.
Well, thanks for that. Well, a funny statement to the 0 to 5 years is I've met salespeople that have sold for 20, 30 plus years. They might as well be at level zero or year one because they're still doing the same stupid things they did those many years ago, and they've never evolved actually into a salesperson. So if you're listening to this, guys and gals, don't think just because somebody's got so many years seniority on you as far as number of years of selling that they're any better than you, because they dang sure aren't.
So let me ask you the first question here, Donnie. You've been in sales a long time now. What are 3 traits you see in highly successful salespeople?
First one is you got to stop giving a crap what other people think. 90% of the time when you're going on a sales call, when you're sitting across from somebody, they're not thinking about you on a personal level. It's a business transaction that has to become a relationship transaction. So quit worrying about rejection and all that stuff. You got to turn off the noise and be you. The second thing is anything that pops up that scares you, you got to do. Any moment you have any uncertainty, fear, any sort of not good enough, that type of thing popping up, you got to go straight at it because that's where all the learning happens. You can think about it, you can hear about it, but until you get punched in the face with it, it's the only way you're actually going to learn it. The third one is you've got to go after clients to scare the crap out of you. Most people play it safe and go after clients that they feel like they're comfortable with, okay to engage with. You got to go after the bigger fish so that you can screw up enough to learn how to sell on that level. And then every level underneath that gets a lot easier to sell. So do those 3 things and magic will happen in your life.
Man, I love that answer, Donnie. So I'm just going to recap it here. 1 is stop caring what other people think. 2, stop letting your own fear stop you from doing the actions that you should be doing to grow. And 3, get out of your comfort zone and start going after some whales.
Yeah. Another way of putting that is anytime that fear pops up in your life, I think it's a universe saying go that direction. I'm 44 years old, so I grew up in the era of stand-up arcades. And there was this old game called Dragonlance that I loved in the arcades. And basically you were a knight, there was a dragon on the other screen. And what happened is a flash of light would happen up on the screen. And when that flash of light happened, you'd slam your controller, go straight at that direction. And if you got the combination right, you would move and the dragon wouldn't slay you. I totally sucked at that game, but it was a fun game to play.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when it comes to your fears. When a fear pops up, it's like that flash of light just popped up on the screen. You got to slam everything you got straight at it, because it's not about overcoming the fear. It's about who you become going through that. And that's where the magic happens. And one of the biggest differentiators between a okay rookie middle of the road salesperson and somebody who's doing a more elite is they've taken more risk than the average person has.
I think there's a lot of truth in that, and I've experienced that a few times in my own career. I have taken on challenges that I did not feel completely ready for. And I feel like that advice that generally splits the audience in half, fake it until you make it. And some people say, no, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. And other people say, well, how else are you going to learn and grow? You got to fake it and just kind of push yourself to act like you can handle this big assignment when inside, well, maybe you don't have all your ducks in a row, but you're going to figure it out on the way there. I kind of
Well,
ascribe to that camp.
I'm going to twist that just a little bit because I'm not of the fake it till you make it crew. I'm the tell them you don't know and go for it crew. So for me, if I'm a rookie and I'm going after a super large company that nobody in my company's ever been able to land, right? This big fish, I'm going to walk right in there and 100% look at that potential prospect, that potential client, and go, look, I'm brand new to this. I'm learning. And making a call on a client this size scares the bejesus out of me. But I've got to learn somehow. So can I take a few minutes, tell you why I'm here, tell you what I'm trying to do, and let's have a dialogue. That vulnerability on the front end makes people want to come support and help and watch you grow. They may tell you, look, we're not looking to work with a rookie. Cool. When do I come back to talk to you? At what point do you know I'm no longer a rookie? But it's not the fake it till you make it. It's being brutally honest up front so they know where you're coming from. Because if you go in there and you're acting like, I've sold multi-millions of dollars when you never have, you're going to eventually be caught. Because eventually they're going to find out, dude, you don't know what the crap you're talking about. Right. And when you're caught, you lose trust. And when you lose trust, you'll never gain that account. So it's about brutally putting your cards on the table and owning that you're proud of the fact that you're a rookie, but you're still taking risk and growing. That is a confidence place to be, and a great way to show up.
I totally understand what you're saying, that when we're genuine and authentic, we always build more rapport and accelerate a relationship.
Yeah, because I think a lot of rookie salespeople, they want to put a mask on or they want to become somebody else.
Yeah.
So I used to do a lot of ride-alongs when I was doing a lot of sales training, and I would go along as a sales trainer or as the salesperson in training. So the customers and the prospects have no idea that I was a sales trainer, just as a rookie coming to start for the company. And on the drive to the call, I would get this young person that was lively, happy, talking about their family, kids, things they do outside of work. And then we get to the building where we're going to do the sales call. They get out of the car and like this Jekyll and Hyde happens. It's like, okay, let me put on my salesperson coat. And they'd walk in and they completely would bomb the sales call. And I'd never bail them out because I'm just a rookie in training, right? It's not my job to save their deal. And, afterwards we'd have to talk. And for me, it's, if you won't buy from you as a regular person, how you regularly show up in life, nobody else is going to. And if you got to put on a front, you're going to eventually be found out. So you're better off just being how you show up in the world.
Why do some people see sales as so mysterious and difficult, Donnie? You make it sound pretty simple, actually, the way you've just spelled it out and some of the ideas that you shared with us already.
Well, I think sales is simple. I think sales is just a conversation with an outcome. And I think, I don't believe in closing just so people can wrap their head around that. I believe in closure, where, you should finish every conversation with what's next. Is we continue moving forward? Is this over? What do we happen? What are we doing from here? And I think closing by nature is transactional. Repeat the question, because I went on a rant that I thought was important, but I didn't answer your question.
It was a good answer to a question I haven't asked yet, but the question was, why do some people see sales as so mysterious?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So you did kind of answer it, actually.
What people have to back up to understand is this is a conversation. I always look at it from the perspective of, in sales, you should try and disqualify them, not qualify them. And it's a massive mental shift in the thought process, because most people are taught traditional transactional sales, where in transactional sales, you get the deal done no matter what. They don't leave your car lot. They don't leave your office. They don't leave anything until they've signed the dotted line. That's transactional sales. I don't
Always.
believe in that world. Hate that world.
Mhm.
I think it ruins sales for the rest of us. For me, it's all about building and establishing lifelong relationships. I want that customer coming back again and again and again and again. And I want them telling other people about my services and what I do. So I think if you come from a perspective that they've got to qualify themselves to work with me, because I'm just not going to work with anybody. They've got to qualify and make sure they're ready to come work with me. It shifts the entire mental game and takes the creepiness out of sales.
If you could go back to that age when you were just 22 and you landed your first straight commission sales job, what would you do differently now?
I would have been in commercial sales way faster. I did door-to-door sales for HVAC.
Mm,
And it's funny. And the reason I got into that was I was hired out as a technician right out of the Marine Corps, and I hated that job and was getting ready to quit. And before they would let me quit, the owner looked at me and said, "Hey, I'm going to hand you a whole bunch of brochures, go door to door. And if somebody comes, lets us look at their unit, I'll pay you." I'm like, "I don't have to get all dirty and everything." He's like, "Nope." I said, "I'm in." So
yeah.
that's literally how I got into sales. But I think, early on, I would get into more of a commercial aspect. I would have taken a lot more massive risks. I would have invested heavily in the learning process of sales because I got good at sales later in life. I got great in sales when I really started investing into sales training and business development and mindset training and going to conferences. When I found out there was people that could actually teach this stuff, I didn't have to just beat my head against the wall and figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
It's everything's better when you surround yourself with other people that are learning as well.
I have people that follow the channel who aren't necessarily salespeople. They're oftentimes business owners. Now, to grow your small business, do you think it's more important for a small business owner to learn how to sell or to hire a salesperson?
Well, I'll put this in the bluntest way I know how. If you hire a salesperson without knowing how to sell, you're going to fail.
Mm,
And the reason you're going to fail is if you can't find success for your own business, because look, especially starting out, you're always going to be the number one salesperson.
yeah.
If you're not, you don't have a company. And just remember, guys, passion sells. So the moment you try and hire a salesperson and you don't know how to sell, you're setting them up for failure because a couple of things are going to happen. One, you're not going to be able to coach them through things they should say better on calls. They're going to sit across from you and like, "Man, I was on this call and I thought we are going to move forward. And they said this, I said this, and everything went away." Your response to coach them at that point, it's all theory because you haven't been in the moment. You've
Mm,
got to be able to champion your people that come work for you. And look, if sales is uncomfortable, change the way you're approaching it, change the way you're doing it, and make it fun. Most people do sales in a solo adventure. Doing cold calls, sitting by yourself behind your computer is one of the most daunting, mind-wrenching experience you can do. Go find a buddy
yeah.
and partner up and do a you go, I go. It's one of my favorite things to do is even to this day running all these companies, I still cold call. And what I'll do is I got my director of operations and I will kick open a Zoom and we'll start dialing together. And what's funny is I'll go and if I do something really good, we'll celebrate. If we don't, we bust each other's chops and we just go back and forth. And it makes it so much more fun because it doesn't give you time to get in your head. So yeah, I would never hire a salesperson until you can figure out how to get your own company to six figures so they can figure out how to duplicate that process and you can walk them through it.
Wow, that is such good advice, Donnie. I mean, I've seen small business owners struggle with this whole idea of wanting to hire a salesperson, thinking that it's going to accelerate the growth of their company when they're still not yet good at using their own passion and confidence in the quality of their product or service to go out there and convince people to do business with them.
Well, and to add on that, man, I think it's an asinine thought process to ever tell somebody, "Man, I'm just really good at what I do. I just want to do that." Well, good. If you want to do that, go sell it. Take that passion of how awesome you are, how good you are at what you do, and go meet some people, go get in conversations and screw up in that process to learn how to do it properly. And don't be so conceited that think that somebody else, if they're a salesperson, they should be able to sell my stuff. Not true. Not true at all.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started out, I think one of the reasons that I found success while some other business coaches didn't is because of my ability to sell and market. That it really helped me a lot to understand that idea that you run a business that's a sales and marketing business that happens to provide this as a service, or this as a product. When you talked about change your mindset, change your perspective of the way you look at selling and make it fun, and consider what you said, that sales is just a conversation with an outcome. I
Yep.
love that. And don't
Yeah.
focus on closing, focus on closure. You've already shared some really great nuggets that I just wanted to recap
Thanks for that.
for our audience.
One thing that I think that'll help out a lot of new salespeople, new business owners, is race to 100. And it's something that I came up with years ago, but it's the entire thought process. If you can get to 100 conversations with people that can actually say yes or no to doing business with you, you'll build an amazing company, because you can't help but having those. And this is not a get to know you. I'm talking about 100 sales conversation meetings that they can say yes or no, and you'll build a business. And I think if people will wrap their head around, how do I get to that conversation, that level of conversation, and how do they duplicate it over and over again? By the time you get to 100, all the stuff you've read in the books, all the stuff you may learn from Michael, all the things you learn from conferences and everything else is actually going to make sense, because you're now applying and have a chance to actually try the stuff you're learning by consuming all this content. It actually puts you in the game to put this stuff in play. And it's, in my opinion, the fastest way to grow any business.
I think I had sales conversation 86 this morning, so I'm pretty close. I'm pretty
Nice.
close to realizing the value of your advice there.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So I notice you use the word success a lot in your business, Donnie. What does success mean to you?
Freedom. For 20 years, I worked for other people. And, I've sold hundreds of millions of dollars in that time, and in various entities. And, at one point I look back on how much money I made in comparison to all the companies I sold for. And there was a drastic difference, and rightly so, in two regards. One, they took all the risk. They put up all the time, the energy, and they needed a guy like me to come in and actually sell. So completely grateful for those opportunities. But I was always a slave to a paycheck. I was always slave to somebody else's schedule, and a slave to somebody else's mission and purpose in life. So for me, success is freedom. Now, I may work 90 hours a week right now by choice, but because I love what I do. And whoever the idiot says, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, I want to punch him in the face, because he's an idiot, because I do what I love, and I work more hours than I ever did working for somebody else doing stuff I didn't like. I think it gives you the ability to work longer if you do enjoy what you do.
It's your definition that gets you up in the morning and keeps you moving forward. I do like what Earl Nightingale said many years ago. He was the first guy where I bought a set of his tapes called Lead the Field. And that was on cassette, right? That's how far back
Nice.
I go in professional development. And he said, success is the steady realization of a worthy goal.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. I think those are fine words. And then we each have to add on our own meaning on top of that. So in your intro statement, Donnie, I said, get ready to have your fire lit and start chasing your own dreams. Many people find that very difficult to chase their own dreams. Why do you think that is?
Because they don't know what the hell they want to be when they grow up. It's interesting what happened to me. So I turned 40 years old. I was in a position where I was going to buy out my business partner, multiple 7-figure deal over 5 years. And during that dinner, when we were sitting down to celebrate all the successes and wins, he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Donnie, thank God you're my retirement plan." And when he said that phrase and that statement, I had this mind-blowing thought process where I started looking back over my life and realized my entire life had been somebody else's retirement plan. And I was building somebody else's dreams. And I asked myself, how the hell did I get here? How did I get to this spot where I've been living other people's dreams their entire life. And what I realized is I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went to the Marine Corps because I was a knucklehead in high school and no direction in my life. Got out of the Marine Corps, took a job with my best friend because it was there. I got a job in St. Louis because it was there. I got a job in bartending after that because it was there. I got a job selling commercial printing because it was there. I got a job doing sales training because it was there. Nowhere in my journey did I ever look at life and go, you know what? I'd like to learn this. Let me go try this. I'd like to build this. Let me go build this. It was always a series of kind of this head down doing what was in front of me. And when I finally started looking up, I realized a couple of things. One, I didn't know who I was. Two, I didn't know where I wanted to go. So I just knew there had to be something better, something more with life than what I was currently doing and trying to figure out. So when I jumped out on my own, I came out as a success coach, which I still don't know what that means. I was under a massive non-compete and I couldn't talk about sales or business development. So that was my answer. But I think that year of not being able to do what I was really good at allowed me to go break enough things, try and test and taste a lot of different things to figure out what I really, really enjoy. So by the time that non-compete came up, I had a better understanding of who I was. And then I could go all in on my own strengths, which allowed me to build all these companies because as I could do what I'm really good at, I could find teammates and people to do all the stuff that needed to be done that I wasn't good at. And that allowed me to continue to explore and figure out what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do? How do I want to live? And that's made all the difference in the world.
Earlier, you said as an answer to a question related to sales process, don't focus on qualifying people, focus on disqualifying people. So what's the right type of person to enter into your world and connect with your businesses, which are now 6?
So we're always looking for the GSD. Now, I can't say the middle word in it out of respect for your show, but we are looking for the get blank done people. Get stuff done. I like that. Now, some of my businesses focus on Fortune 500 companies and the like, but I'll focus more here on your smaller businesses. But, the get stuff done people are the people that when they walk in the room, their presence walks in before them. They're never going to be on the sidelines. They're never going to find themselves lost in the crowd. They're most likely going to be leading the room, or the people just flock to them. They're not a circle of influence. They're way beyond that. And those people brought into our world, and we can do so many dynamic things for. We launched Success Champions Networking in March 20, and we fixed what everybody hated about networking. And in a year, have built 42 chapters across the U.S. and continue to scale that at a national, soon to be global level. And, we just need more of those phenomenal GSDs in our world. And we can do some really, really cool things.
So considering that you have 6 different businesses, what's the best entry point for someone? If someone's watching the show and they say, I love what Donnie's talking about, I can completely relate with that, and I want to learn more, what's the right entry point?
So if they'll text the word success to 817-318-6030, they'll get a quick sheet with a list of all the stuff and how to get interactive with us. We'll also send them some free training videos as well, as a thank you for doing all that. Excuse me. But yeah, send the word success to 817-318-6030, and we'll send you a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Awesome. Sounds really good, Donnie. Well, I've learned a lot from our conversation today, and I know that people who are watching this video are learning a lot as well. So I just want to thank you so much for giving generously of your time and your wisdom today and sharing with us from your many years of experience that have led you to this wonderful point in your life.
No, I appreciate it. And guys, if you're watching or listening to this, do Michael a favor and share this episode out with somebody else. Having my own podcast, I can tell you one of the greatest thing in the world is when somebody comes up and says, hey, I told so-and-so about your podcast and they said they loved it. So help him grow this show and impact and reach more people by just sharing it with one person. It'll mean everything to him. It's like you walked up and gave him a virtual hug.
Thank you, Donnie.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm going to share. I'm going to share your podcast coming up here too.
Thanks, bud. Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's been a real pleasure, Donnie, and I wish you continued success with your many businesses and the great work you're doing out there in the world.
Thanks, Michael. You too, bud.